Hey, hello. How you doing? Now I'll try to make this short. I just wanted to express some thoughts on our economic system and capitalism in general. There was a video I watched uh, where they showed some lady who was talking about um, people being crushed by our economic system and criminalizing homelessness and both parties being at fault and so forth. And the channel showing the video, the one guy said a phrase that I think is really accurate. He said he described our economy, or the meat grinder of our economy, or the meat grinder of capitalism, or something. Now, first off, I have to say, switching to a straight socialist or communist system, I think, would be a death knell. That's kind of been demonstrated throughout history. And starting from scratch and creating something new, I don't think would be a very wise idea. Wouldn't happen anyways, and we couldn't have any kind of anarchy with how many people we have in the world. So I think our best bet is, a mixed economy, capitalist system with some socialist elements, kind of like what we have now. But what we have now is not working for everybody. It's been like this for decades, I'd say since the 80s. People being crushed by rent and healthcare costs and whatnot. And basically, yeah, both parties are responsible for this to an extent. Mainly because what I've said before many times, the worst part of our system is the corruption, the legalized bribery, the lobbying, the big money donors, which, when people legislate, when these politicians legislate mainly according to what their donors want, as opposed to mainly governing for the people, it's not a true democracy or representative democracy, whatever you want to call it. And so we only get incremental change. And granted, the kind of incremental change we need usually comes from the Democrats, like wanting to raise the minimum wage and pro-union, affordable housing, child tax credits, paid family leave, paid maternity leave, free school lunch for kids. But, the lobbying system and the big money donors. I wish, when people go out there protest it, if anything should ever happen to me, I just want people to know how much I just hate that system. And that, people go out there and protest for this and that. When this system, I say it's the worst thing about a country because it kind of stops change in most areas. So, people go out there and protest against this and that. When people should be out in the street protesting against the, our political system with the big money donors and whatnot. Like I said, people getting crushed by rent and healthcare costs, and it's all because of corporate greed. And I say one of the most recent main examples of this is during the pandemic. You got people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, these multi-billionaires. They actually got richer, wealthier during COVID. While people being crushed by inflation that was caused by COVID, these people already had like $65 billion and their income went up. It's like, it's just, oh man, it's infuriating. And people would say, we shouldn't have billionaires. And I used to be kind of reluctant to agree with that. But now I kind of slap myself in the face, like, what the fuck am I doing defending billionaires? Not that I was defending them, but I definitely can see that point of view. And I would say, I watched the video talking about how much $1 billion is. I don't think a lot of people realize how much $1 billion is. It'd be hard for a regular person to spend $1 billion in a lifetime. So I say, 1 billion should probably be the limit. Anything over that, you should be taxed 100% or at least 50%, or at least 50%. And anywhere from 5 to 10 billion, yeah, you should definitely be taxed 100%. All of that money goes to help people that are working like fucking dogs, like at a fast food restaurant, working harder than like a lot of CEOs and executives do, working their ass off for shit wages, can barely afford rent, can barely afford to go to the doctor. So, yeah, meat grinder of capitalism, I think is what he said. Or at least the meat grinder of our system. And I was going to end by saying that this is why, like, Bernie Sanders, I think, still is the most popular senator. Because a lot of people listen to what he says, and most of his ideas are spot on. He points out the corruption in our system, the greed, and it kind of crosses the political spectrum. Like, there's people who were for Bernie that, like, voted for Trump in 2016. So, yeah. This is why these young kids, have a very negative view of capitalism. And, and then you got the ignorance that's, communist, socialist. Yeah, there are some misguided young people that have more of a favorable view of communism and stuff. But I'd say it's definitely not the majority. A lot of them just want a fairer economic system. And I don't agree with everything. I don't agree with, diversity quotas and, housing a bunch of asylum seekers or illegal immigrants in a hotel while people a few blocks away are barely getting by. But it's like the old saying goes, agree with me on 6 out of 12 things, vote for me. You agree with me 12 out of 12, go see a psychiatrist, So that's all I had to say.